and welcome back to another Bad Movie review, hosted by none other than your favourite Australian reviewers. I don't know. I can't go in much here because I'm in a somber mood. So, if you've read the title, we are reviewing, I guess, a very highly talked about film which has come out in Australia quite late, as it's releasing on video on demand or VOD in like 2 days in the States, but it is finally got an Australian release, and it is none other than Past Lives, which is critically acclaimed, directorial debut from Celine Song, which is about essentially two childhood friends from Korea who are, I guess, torn apart from the fact that the one of them's immigrated to Canada, New York, where she resides, and they obviously they meet up and confront that, I guess, that deeply connected side of things. Yeah. But I won't sort of talk about it too much without getting into the review. So, as I said, it's obviously critically acclaimed.
Now that you said video on demand, is this getting a theatrical release, or are we just nice enough to see a nice?
No, that's getting in Australia. It's like proper theatrical release.
That's good.
It's been out in the States. It's obviously quite an independent film to a certain extent. A24 obviously distributed it. So I think it got usually a lot of them in the States will get like a New York and then LA release. They're like Alamo and like sort of art house theaters, and then they'll have a wide release later. So
yeah, cool. That's good.
It's obviously just a relatively small film. I think budget, for instance, it would be no more than probably 10 mil, I would say.
Sweet. Well, look, I'll follow it up from there. My main question I wanted to ask that one before was because go watch this film in cinemas. It's worth every bit of cent and time that you're going to spend on this film. For anyone that's used to kind of like a lot of our videos, you know that I usually give quite a dumbed down version, and Ben's quite good at breaking everything down. And I'm someone who sometimes I can't read when I'm trying to see things, which is something I expressed before. One of the what's that movie? All Quiet on the Western Front. One of the ones where I was like, man, it doesn't even matter that I have to read things. This film's like phenomenal. And for me, this one, not following the theme of that film, of course, but like for anyone who might hesitate from watching this film because some is in English and some's not, grow up and go watch this film. I was a lot more moved from this film than I was expecting. It's some of the best use of silence in a film, but not like total silence. It's like really good silence with great audio design in the background, with a nice score to complement, but not a score that kind of like stands out per se, but really one that kind of captivates you and drags you into this film. It was the small subtle stuff of the silence makes you soak in all that great audio design, and they just work like in tandem perfectly for me. I love the way this was shot. There's some absolutely gorgeous scenes and some nice unique, I guess, kind of like filming styles between two major like broad open scenes, and then some nice I guess kind of close up portrait like scenes that were a little bit more intimate. And some of that was just like so captivating. This film feels like it had 500 words spoken in the whole thing, but I reckon if they spoke nothing, I'd still be able to tell you the whole story. It would really, really move me. This film was, I wasn't expecting like this. Ben knows that I usually shy away from anything that usually makes me use my heart, which is, quite cold at times. But this is one that warms it up just a little bit more at the same time as, I guess really emotionally connecting. It's the acting. I don't know anything about them, if it's their first role, if they're existing, or anything in between. I know Greta Lee has obviously been in a fair few things. I think she was also in Altered Carbon. I think season 2. She was in Altered Carbon. I think. Is that what I'm thinking of? I'm thinking of the wrong movie here, aren't I?
Maybe.
Yeah. Anyway, not Altered Carbon. I can't remember what it is. Anyway. I have seen her in other films, and she's quite good. But everyone else, I don't really know too much around, except John Magaro. Yeah, I've seen him in a few stuff, and I don't think for me he's really had kind of like some standout kind of role, but his position in this film was great. So no credit away from him. He obviously wasn't the star of the film, but like complimented every single aspect of it. But the two main lead ones, Greta and Teo,
Tio, yeah.
yeah, phenomenal. Like absolutely soaked you in with their. We talk about
Facial
Timothy,
expression.
Timothy Chalamet and
Florence Pugh.
see, this is why it's good he's here. I suck at names. And the fact that they can act perfectly with just their face, they can be completely silent, and it just tells so much of a novel. Like, the old picture tells 1,000 words. People like this can do it with their face, and I thought they did great with this. This film was awesome. It was beautiful. I loved it, but I don't know where to go from here. So I really want your thoughts on this. I'm going to throw it straight over to you. But for me, go watch this film.
Yeah. I guess I didn't touch on it earlier that this is a semi-autobiographical film. So I presume it's obviously it's something that potentially Celine has experienced. But I guess to touch on the film before I cry, because I'm sure if you're watching this and you actually listen to Daniel but pay attention to my face, you can probably see a few moments where I've actually trying to hold it together. This film, I've definitely had more enjoyable experiences at the theatre this year in like Barbie and Spider-Verse, but I don't think a film will deeply affect me more than this one. That's the best way I can put it, really. It is, for a directorial debut, I will be there day one for anything Celine makes in the future. Her ability to extract emotion and empathy and feelings from anything, whether it be the way she's directed the film, the way she's directed the cast. The cast is absolutely fantastic in here. As you said, Greta is unbelievable. Tio, who I saw recently in Decision to Leave, was also fantastic, and just his ability to, as you said, convey feeling and extract that emotion from just pure silence. Or I actually was going to say an underappreciated role. I'm sure potentially, I'm not sure exactly, but John Magaro in this film also brought such a humane and like caring and like down to earth performance, and it was just perfect. The score complemented this film. I know you touched on it earlier perfectly. It's obviously not a film that needs a bang bang Hans Zimmer score. It's primarily kind of like very withdrawn acoustic, like whether it be piano playing or guitar strings, and it allows you to evoke serious emotion in the best way possible. As you said, the cinematography is beautiful, but one thing that I think Celine has done impeccably, and I don't know if you've necessarily picked up on it, but the film, the way it's shot and the way it looks and the way it feels is so incredibly raw. It doesn't feel like a movie. It feels like you're almost watching a real life situation. Yeah. Like, it doesn't feel like there's any lighting. Like, the film actually kind of felt over contrasted in a way because there was no perfection to the lighting. It genuinely looked like I was watching a story unfold.
Yeah.
Which kind of, tore me to shreds. But I know that the film kind of has a heavy talk about a word, which is a Korean concept called yin-yang as well, which I guess to its nearest translation, it sends here from essentially about the potential of people together through reincarnated lives. And I think that's possibly one of the most depressing but beautiful concepts of a thought I've ever heard of. But there's few films that move me this much, and I can think of like recently, like After Sun, and there's films that I watch where I'm like, yeah, that's amazing, but like it kind of almost changes my perspective on life, really. Not to get too deep, but like, After Sun, if you've watched that film made me like appreciate my dad and my family, and just being able to understand other people's emotions. And this film kind of put an appreciation on similar thing like friendships, love, the failed relationships. And there's something so beautiful and so realistic and raw about this film in the way it unfolds and ends. That's not like a over the top Hollywood happy ending or anything. It's just completely
Real.
wrecking and real. And something I will probably recommend to anyone, but I have a feeling they'll probably hate me for it because it isn't the happiest of films. It is quite you can look at it two ways. It is quite bleak in ways, but then it is also quite beautiful in the way that they talk about, the potential of obviously what's failed in the current life and what potentially might be the past life, but what might be in the future life, which I think a concept that is beautiful. And I can't recommend this film enough. I thought the craft was just absolutely perfection in terms of how it tried to evoke those feelings and those emotions and how raw it was. And then everything in front of the camera, like the performances, it just held it down. And as you said, it utilizes silence and just perfectly to really make you feel. And I couldn't
agree more.
I can't talk about this film with enough positives. It's probably one of my favorites of the year so far. It'll most likely stay there at this current state. I don't see.
Yeah, I'm feeling a bit the same.
As I said, it's not the funnest time I've had in the cinema because that's not exactly. I did sit there, tears in my eyes for the last 5 minutes, and when the credits started rolling, I was kind of just sitting there in a little bit of shock. Please go see this film. Please support it. Celine, I will be there for every single film you make in the future. For a directorial debut, it kind of makes me a bit sick that you have this ability.
Where you been?
You have this ability after, But
where have you been?
If you have seen it, which I'm sure you have, please comment below. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you feel the same. Let us know if you're crying yourself to sleep tonight as well. And other than that, we'll catch you next time.
Thanks, guys.